Every single day, the world drinks over 2.2 billion Coca-Cola products. Think about that number for a second. Over 2 billion per day. It's larger than the combined population of India and China. But how does a can of soda or a glass bottle of Coke made in one of 900 manufacturing plants, how does it make it to the end of a rural dirt road in Africa? Or the 50th floor of a skyscraper in Manhattan into a vending machine? This is a logistics story, and it's one of the most complex ones that's ever been built. And today, I'm gonna walk you through how this all comes together so we can get that cold, refreshing product that we know and love. Here's the first thing that most people get wrong about Coca-Cola. They don't actually manufacture most of the products that you drink. They're a concentrate company. What does that mean? Well, they do a lot of marketing, they do a ton of branding. People know the red and white logo all across the world. It's one of the world's most recognized brands, but they're a concentrate company. They make the secret sauce, in essence, the flavor and what gets filled into the cans and bottles across an independent bottling network. That secret syrup is manufactured in one of 80 highly secure manufacturing plants. Then they sell that concentrate to a massive global network of independent bottlers all across the world. This entire system started with a handshake in 1899, over 125 years ago. Two lawyers from Tennessee, Benjamin Thomas and Joseph Whitehead, walked into Coca-Cola's headquarters with a really simple idea: fill the Coca-Cola product in glass bottles. The problem is, the president at the time, Asa Candler, didn't buy into it. He didn't see the vision. He signed away the bottling rights for almost the entire United States for $1. And guess what? He never even collected the dollar. That $1 deal set the stage and the template for everything moving forward. Today, 225 bottling partners operate over 900 plants all across the world in over 200 different countries. That division of labor is deliberate. Coca-Cola owns the brand, the bottlers own the logistics. They own the trucking part, the warehousing, the filling part, ultimately the complexity of where the rubber meets the road. They own the capital intensity of building out and maintaining these sophisticated lines, all of the packaging, all of the labor that goes into the actual product. Coca-Cola, on the other hand, captions the margin. They capture the reputation and the consumer love and brand loyalty. It's a federated empire, a decentralized machine with a centralized secret. So once that concentrate leaves the manufacturing plant at Coca-Cola, that's when the real transformation happens. The bottling plant will mix that secret formula with filtered water, carbonation, and package it according to required specs. That's the product that we know of and we buy every single day. At Heartland Bottling, Coca-Cola's newest facility, over 2,000 cans are filled per minute. From the manufacturing line, that product moves into the packaging operation, where pallets are built, wrapped, and then moved into an automated warehouse, stored and ready for consumer demand. As that product sits in the warehouse, waiting for transportation, that transportation leg is what we know as the middle mile. And it's one of the greatest changes we've seen in the last 100 years. In the early days, over 100 years ago, it was a horse and buggy. One person, very short distances, very small number of deliveries. The motor truck arrived in 1910, 116 years ago. So what changed? Well, number one is we can span much greater distances. Number two is we can put a lot more product in the truck. And number three is we can service a much more significant customer population with one single driver. And over the next 100 years, commercial fleets grew significantly. That red and white brand became iconic. It's what we know immediately when we see a Coca-Cola truck driving down the road, which is being hauled by Red Classic, their transport company. Companies like Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners deliver over 1.8 million deliveries per year just in Australia alone. The scale is massive. Globally, the system delivers over 10 million shipments per week. Most of these are delivered by fleets that Coca-Cola doesn't even own, or what we call common carriers here in the US. Those common carriers are the lifeline of most economies. We have over 800,000 trucking companies just in the US alone. And 96% of those trucking companies are less than 20 trucks. They're independent companies. They're mom and pops. It's this entrepreneurial business, which is logistics. These trucks, these independent companies, they're the arteries. That pulse every single day is what gets product from distribution hubs to end customers all across the world. Getting a product to a regional warehouse is one thing, but getting the product to every single consumer that wants one is an entirely different problem. And it's what we know as the final mile, where product gets to the end consumer, not just the warehouse or the distribution hub. And in many parts of the world, it is by far and away the hardest one. What happens when the pavement ends and there is no traditional road? There is no more truck that can deliver it. Coca-Cola's answer to this is the Manual Distribution Center, or MDC. It's something they pioneered in the late 90s in Africa. A large truck drops off inventory at a small hub, and that's where that mom and pop business takes over. Whatever means necessary to get product to the end consumer is what occurs. So whether it's a bicycle riding down a dirt road, a boat between land and an island, or a donkey in a cart, that product has to get from that hub to that vending machine or local store where it can be served cold and fresh, however the consumer wants it. Over 3,000 of these MDCs operate in more than 20 African nations. It impacts over 15,000 livelihoods. It's entrepreneurialism at its finest. It's what gives jobs to the local economy. It's what allows product to get to the consumers. It's a high-tech, hyper-local solution to an insanely complex problem. The contrast with urban delivery is massive. Think about that. Rural Africa, downtown Manhattan. What happens in urban environments? Well, traffic, congestion, you have bikes everywhere, people walking by everywhere. Urban delivery is no joke. You also have weather to contend with. How do you get large trucks in massive urban environments where there's a large concentration of people that want your product? But whether it's a dirt track or a large city block, the end goal remains the same. Get the product to where the consumer wants it. But even with all this, a bottleneck still remained. And it wasn't at the end of a dirt road in rural Africa. It was right here at the warehouse, inside the yard. For decades, the gate of every distribution center has been the guard shack. Long lines, vast amounts of paperwork, waiting on other colleagues to tell you what to do and what to tell that driver. Phone calls back and forth to make sure that the driver's there for the right load. How do I make sure that they're picking up the right trailer? Highly inefficient. There was no real-time visibility for anyone. Trucks were waiting for hours to get loaded. For drivers, it's one of the biggest sources of frustration about their job. They're paid based on revenue-generating miles. Waiting at a facility to get loaded is waste. They may get detention time, but they don't want to sit for 6 hours at a origin location knowing that they have hours of service that they're trying to contend with and be able to get to the delivery before it's too late. For Coca-Cola, it meant higher detention fees, higher labor costs, a lot of inefficiencies. But for the carriers, it was just as frustrating. What happened is Coca-Cola had a harder time finding the best of breed carriers because of all the friction, all that waste, all that inefficiency. It's what we know as the shipper of choice in supply chain. They'd optimized the factory. They had all this automation inside their warehouses and manufacturing plants. But that last mile, what stood between their automated warehouse and their trucks meeting to their customer locations was a clipboard, was a paper yard pass, was a radio call. Still in 2026, no different than what they were doing 30 years ago. So Coca-Cola turned to Vector, a digital platform that intersects transportation and warehousing. It's a platform that automates the driver interaction, the gate assignment, digitizing all of that paperwork. No more do you have boxes and boxes stacked high of bill of ladings. It's all in a digital file cabinet, all web-based, instant access. That traditional guard shack, it's no longer a guard shack. It's a welcome center for drivers. It's a place that is efficient and friction-free. Drivers can pre-check in through their telematics device. They can get gate assignments well before they arrive to the location. The shipping location can verify and authenticate who drivers are in advance. Dispatchers have real-time info on the driver at that building. They've got insights of every trailer in the yard, whether it's loaded, empty, and what the ETA for pickup time is. That entire process from scheduling to check-in to check-out is fully automated. Think of friction-free, digital first. Very easy for drivers, very easy for security personnel, and especially the warehouse staff. Drop and hook times fell below 15 minutes. Live loads were in and out within 45 minutes. Gone were the days of high detention cost, high waiting fees, carriers churning because they knew that it was going to be a poor experience. All through digital technology. Rob Haddock, who spent over 4 decades at Coca-Cola as Group Director of Planning and Logistics, put it very simply. It's a win-win-win. The cost of goods to the customer stays the same, our partners are more profitable, and for Coca-Cola, they're more competitive. It's the final piece of the puzzle. It's the digital layer that sits on top of this physical empire. The machine runs faster, leaner, and more efficient than it ever has before. So, from a secret formula born in Atlanta to a global network of bottling partners, through massive factories producing thousands of drinks a minute, down the final, toughest mile. The genius of Coca-Cola isn't in its taste, it's in its architecture. An invisible, constantly evolving machine that connects a single recipe to 2.2 billion moments of refreshment every single day. So next time you open up a Coke, you're not just opening up a drink. You're opening up the final chapter to one of the greatest logistics stories ever told. If you're running a complex supply chain and you're tired of the bottlenecks in your yard, check out how Vector is helping companies like Coca-Cola build the facility of the future. Link in the description.